Hello, welcome to another episode of a Melanated Hypothesis podcast with your girl, the Compassion Coach, aka ToriV. And I'm here. It's Friday, so you know what that means. I'm here with another dope guest with a dope perspective. Coach Matty, can you introduce yourself to the collective?
Hey everybody. This is Coach Matty McCaskill. I'm blessed to be here. Tori is amazing. I saw her energy. We're part of the morning meetup as well, and I think that that's how we connected. But again, this her energy is amazing, and I was like, I have to definitely hop in the building. I'm a music producer, musician. I'm in the coaching space now, and I help music producers unlock their full creative potential so that they can attract paying clients and just make the music that can meet the standard of today's time. So, that's essentially what I do is, help music producers just unlock that creative stuff, that that they need to do. I've got about 20, a little bit over 20 years in the independent music space. My music has been featured on film, featured in radio, and had I had a chart topping album that I produced and wrote on, and also worked with another artist who the single that we produced on her album, it also went to the number one spot in this in the UK Soul chart. So I just want to be able to take the information I've learned over 20 years, painstaking sometimes, and condense it so that we can give some music producers like the freedom and the independence that they're looking to have, hopefully.
No, that is awesome. Um, it's really dope because I think that as a creative, I think you always kind of have a beat in your head, even if you don't
Hmm.
produce music. Like, even if you're not into the music space, you always kind of have this beat, this rhythm, this something that you beat to.
Yeah,
And so basically, what you're doing is helping people pull that out of them and monetize and make their best life, I guess, off of
pretty
their
much.
gift.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think that like what I really understood is that why I really was like, okay, let me get into the coaching aspect is because I realized that, and this is without even knowing it, Tori, is I realized that, or I understood, should I say, that I love to help people, right? I love to help. I'm always looking at people's businesses and saying, okay, like what would be a creative thing to do? Because I'm truly interested in people. I always like to say this, y'all, is that this is my movie, and you all are characters in my movie, and I'm experiencing you
Yes.
guys, and you guys are just amazing people. And sometimes the characters in my movie, I'm like, well, okay, you're not going to be here for uh, too much time on the screen, you know what I'm saying? But that was great that you were here, and there's possibly something to learn from that. So it's higher than just the coaching aspect. Um, I had COVID. I'll start with that because I had COVID, right? In 2000, or at least some symptoms of COVID in 2000. And I think it was like the beginning of 2021, like January. It's like January. And so I just had time on my hands to, like, I was locked away in a room away from my family. So I had time on my hands to just reflect. I was also kind of sick and stuff like that. And at that specific time, I was saying, what is my actual vision? What's my actual purpose in life? It was just another like time to soul search and say, yo, what's my actual vision and purpose? So I like binge watched on this. He's a pastor, or he was a pastor and kind of like motivational speaker, Dr. Miles Monroe. And, you know, he was just talking about vision for a man. I believe in the scriptures and things like that. I'm essentially a Messianic Hebrew Israelite, and so, but So I just needed something, you know, I needed something that would speak to me from something at least around my culture, right? So he talked about that. And so I was just like, yo, what is my actual purpose? You know, what was I actually put here to do? And it's usually the thing that you can do whether you're getting paid or not. And it is sitting with people, working to help people, listening to what's going on with them and saying, all right, boom, let's develop this kind of strategy, right? I think David Shands from the Morning Meetup, the host of the Morning Meetup, said that get into the rooms where your big problem is somebody else's small problem. And that was so powerful because I'm like, yo, when I hear people talking, I'm like, oh, that's easy. Just do blah, 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 so on and so forth, right? And I was like, that's what I want to do. Ultimately, I feel like I'm going to go into the business coaching space, but I wanted to start out with something that's extremely familiar to me that I have had success in at this moment, and that's the music producer place. You know, because music production growing up, there was always some like, and people will talk about this, there was always some like creepy dude, you know, who, when you try to go to the studio, there was always some type of creepy dude, you know, who just wanted you to sit and like, and kind of go through rites of passage. And I'm like, yo, we don't necessarily have the time to go through rites of passage. And can I pay you for the information? And it was like, nah, like you just got to sit here and go get me some coffee and, you know, and go do like all this type of stuff. And I'm like, yo, I'm just trying to get to a place where I can have the freedom to create, have the independence to essentially take life and do what I want to do with it. And so I said, you know what? I want to give that to music producers who are in their first, second, third, fourth, even fifth year of music production. Because during the pandemic, it let us all know that we might have to do something else besides going to our jobs, right? Because our jobs can shut down. At the time, I was doing part-time work at a co-op grocery store. And that's honestly how I kind of got COVID. I was doing part-time work at a co-op grocery store. But just after I got COVID, I realized I was like, yo, like I'm exposing myself, to too many people at one time, you know, and I need to like switch up. And what is perfect for people that I can serve, right? And it's like, look, if things shut down again, people will still be creating stuff. We're at a day and time where all of the music and studio equipment is not 30 years ago. You know, you can have all of the equipment inside of your household. I mean, you're podcasting right now. We've got all this amazing stuff that we can do inside of our houses. Let me present an offer to music producers growing that want to help, want to be able to make money for themselves in the comfort of their own home. And so that's why I got into music production coaching.
No, that's really good. And then just kind of sitting down, we were talking about, I just want to unpack that a little bit. You were talking about being in COVID in the midst of the pandemic and needing to like stop and be like, okay, what is my purpose?
Yeah.
Like that, just taking that breather, I think that awareness was important and to get you on that path, to get you here where you are now. Can you kind of go into that? Like, what were you feeling in that moment?
Definitely. So look, all right. So I've been a part of a coaching program called the Six-Figure Accelerator, Donnie Wiggins' Six-Figure Accelerator coaching program for entrepreneurship. And I'm a big fan. I got to say this right now. I am a big fan of paid mentorship, paid coaching. And here's why, because this is like my little blurb. Here's why. I've been a part of free groups and I've been a part of paying groups. And the people that I connected with in the paying groups, we started our own like little group. And because we all met like where there was money transferred, it was a different level of like energy, where even though we were in a group together where we weren't, you know, a mastermind where we weren't paying for it, it was a different level of energy because we'd met in somewhere where we were saying, look, like we're absolutely serious, you know, like that happens in colleges and things like that. You pay for the college, but then the network that you build with everybody else, you know, that's that powerful vibe, you know, where I didn't find that in a lot of the free groups. A lot of free groups, it's a lot of people pretending to be like experts in fields and a lot of spamming kind of going on. Anyways, digress from that point. So I learned about the fact that I took one test, I took like 3 personality tests, right? And one was the DISC assessment that I'm sure you're familiar with, Tori. Another one was, I think, 16 personalities, excuse me. And another one was the Enneagram test. And I found out that 16 personalities, I'm a campaigner, you know, which is, those are people who are like, yo, let's go, let's hit it, right? You know, we like to help out, get things started, and then move on. You know, like we don't stay around and stuff like that. And then I'm also a helper. And so just understanding that, let me give you this, because hold on one second. Sorry about that. Turn on my do not disturb. Okay, so guys, I lost my cell phone, and I lost my cell phone for 3 weeks, and it happened after I had almost like experienced like almost like hell at a place at the apex of the hell, or the hell just ending. I lose my cell phone, and I lost my cell phone for 3 weeks. Put it on top of a car, headed somewhere. I was that frustrated, headed somewhere. Boom, cell phone's done. That was the best 3 weeks I had. Once I submitted to what's kind of going on, you know, a couple of days passed, I was not connected to social media. And it was the clearest time that I ever had, because I'm always, you know, we're getting up, we're always just boom, you know, who's checking, who's hitting me up, what's going on in the news, how can I be of service to somebody else, so on and so forth. But I lost my cell phone. I highly recommend, if you want to find yourself and you need clarity on what's going on, lose your cell phone. Not actually, but literally just turn it off, right? Because here's the thing, is that any emergency that happens in between that time, the atmosphere, I say the Most High, the universe, whatever you happen to call it, it's going to work itself out anyways. You were not meant to answer that call. And anytime your phone is on, like most likely you were meant to answer the call, right?
Okay.
So that happened in, so just bringing it back, was I lost my cell phone for about 3 weeks. You know, it took me 3 weeks for the cell phone to come, that I ordered again. But the thing was is that, like, I cell phone had like a little small scratch on it. That's why it took me 3. Okay. That's why it took me 3 weeks, is because I had to send the cell phone back. But here was the thing, is that I really felt like my patience was kind of being tested. And it was like, you know, if you start kind of cursing, like if you lose this test, if you lose this test, it's just going to be continuously like downhill in a bad way from there, right? And so I was like, look, like I'm not going to curse this thing. I'm just going to relax and regroup. And it was the best time. And then fast forwarding a few months, then I caught COVID. And that time that I had by myself was super, super important, right? Dr. Miles Monroe said, he was like, you need to understand your purpose, your vision, and your mission. Your purpose, vision, and mission. And those three things, he said, they were different, right? You know what I'm saying? The purpose is essentially what your creator put you here to.
At times we don't know what we need, and so like it just sounds like you went through doing the work, what I call doing the work, to really get to those characteristics parts. And I feel like that is what I call the purpose work, when you do the work to figure out who it is you are, which once you get out of that, then you get your vision and mission.
Right. You get your aha moment. And I mean, that's the whole thing about, like, see, you bought the books. See, I want to always remind myself, and then everybody else, there is a book that I read called The Top 10 Distinctions Between Millionaires and the Middle Class. One of the distinctions, I think, is distinction number 6. The book is by Keith Cameron. The distinction numbers, it's an amazing, eye-opening book, because you're like, oh, wow, like, am I operating as a millionaire? You know, or am I operating as a middle-class person and
hoping,
right? You know, just how I think, how I move, how I operate. So distinction number 6 is millionaires think that millionaires continue learning, and middle class think that education stopped after school, right? And so the idea of I'm just going to search for free, and look at what because we got YouTube. I mean, we've had the library, we've had free books, but the idea is that navigating and having a map as to how to get to the next step and the transitional period, how long it's going to actually take, you know, is why we want to purchase some stuff, you know, pay for some books, pay for education, pay for courses, you know, and continue, because you still got to do the work. You still, after you purchase that book, you still got to read it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you're going to get away from actually like doing the work, but at the same token, when somebody's gone through somewhere that you've been or that you were headed into, I think that the most pivotal thing, I have a saying that came to me. It's like, I don't got to go to the jail to read the dictionary. If y'all understand and watch this on a replay, understand what that means, right? It's so many brothers and sisters who go to prison and they're finally confined, and they're like, you know, what am I going to do with my time? And they're like, you know, well, shoot, now I'm not all busy and distracted from the world. So now I'm going to read the dictionary, you know, like in Malcolm X, you know, when he started finally reading the dictionary and stuff like that. Well, I can take that same understanding and say, well, I don't have to have some catastrophic thing happen to me before, you know, I take my health seriously, right? Or before, I don't want to get to a place where someone's like, well, do you want to be speaking? You know, we hear where you are and we want to hire you for speaking. And I don't want to like be like, oh, shoot. I need to like try to figure out what I don't know, and searching through an unstructured way, even on YouTube, even with the free information, books and all that type of stuff. Like, I want to do that before, right? Byron Golden talks about the power of expectation, right? If you expect to be somewhere, if you expect to be somewhere great, you're going to be like, oh, no, hold on. Like, I expect for this to happen. So I'm going to put the time, the resource, the time currency, the monetary currency to get this thing done right now, because I expect to be there at a certain time. And that has so much to do with where you are confidence-wise, right? You know, and I'm not even like, listen, Tori, I have a whole affirmations playlist. I mean, we talk about at least, and I'm adding to it consistently, about 78 affirmations that are anywhere from 10 minutes to 8 hours, things that I just play at nighttime, because I know, I've got to continuously condition my mind to becoming that person.
Yes.
And I think you talked about it in your video, that you're becoming the person that that you can be, right? You're doing the work to become. And so often we just are like, we're like, I want to make all this money, or I want to be helping all these people, or I want to be on this stage, I want to be this, that, and the other. And we're like, well, I'm here. And I'm so in love with the vision of myself, which you need to be, but I'm so in love with the vision of myself all the way over here that the work that it requires to get to that specific place, I already done counted myself out, because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just so much work I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? And so you consistently have to stay focused on, you have to consistently feed yourself. Just like down here, in North Carolina, there's a lot of farmers, and I tell people like this, people who observe, the scriptures and things like that. I'm like, look, there's certain things that you're not going to understand about the scriptures if you haven't farmed. Yes, I'm saying there's certain things you're not going to understand about what our Messiah is speaking about if you don't go out and fish. There's certain things that you ain't going to understand if you are locked in a building all the time. If you look, like, I don't know where everybody is, but if you are familiar with the scriptures, the majority of the time that the Messiah was teaching, he was always teaching out in nature. He was always out in a natural place, teaching out in nature. So I was like, there's something about nature. I got to understand this stuff. I got to get out to nature. You know what I'm saying? I got to get out of the church, get out of the building, and get into nature. And so that's even a whole different sort of perspective. That's a whole different understanding. But yeah. So, anyways, I don't know where you keep us on.
No, that was
keep us on track with where we're going here.
That was amazing. Yeah. First of all, because yes, I was writing notes. First of all, I got you right here. Hold on 1 second. Wow, I got you. So you said you were talking about the effort level, and that is the big thing. You didn't use that word, but basically when I'm talking about becoming, I remember sitting with my friends, and it was like a Friday movie, like a scene out of Friday. We was just sitting on the porch, like, man, wait till if I could just, like, you can. Right. Like, we definitely can. And so it's just the effort level. What effort level do you want to put in? That is what becoming is. That's what I created Legacy Leap, because I'm like, all right, I saw the problem in me. And so I got to a place where I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not just hoping and wishing that, somebody's just going to make me CEO one day. And it's just the company going to be set up, and they're going to be like, hey, you right there. No, you in the back. I want you. Like, no, it don't work like that. It don't work like that. I got to fall. I got to go broke. I got to get money, go broke again. All the things that I have to do. Something randomly got to come on my credit. Everything got to go wrong. Okay. But then I got to keep stepping every single day. It's the effort. How much effort do I want to put into this thing? I'm losing weight. And I'm excited about that.
I saw those are the transformation. I just got to shout you out on that, Joe. Like, the transformation has been amazing. So shout out on that. Go ahead, though.
Thank you. It's amazing to me. First, I didn't notice it because I wasn't trying to lose weight. I'm trying to heal. Like, I'm trying to fix myself. Like, I'm trying to figure out, I want my best life, like the best, greatest life I can have. But in shedding that and healing and processing, I started to see myself differently.
Oh no, we're getting spicy.
Oh no, okay.
We got spicy real quick. You were saying I was not trying to lose weight, I was trying to heal.
Yes. I was trying to heal myself. I was trying to understand myself, have understanding in the world. And I eventually started to lose weight. The weight started coming off. So it was weird. It came off weird because I started changing my eating habits first, and I wasn't necessarily in the gym yet. But the more I started to
Right.
love myself and to really like connect with self and connect with temple. So all of that is the foundational work of what I feel is becoming. But then making that commitment that, okay, now I'm actually on this journey. I'm going to move my body every day. I'm going to get into nature. I'm going to also eat healthy. I'm going to eat plant-based or vegetarian, or I'm going to eat whatever. I'm going to give my body the best of the best. Like I
Right.
spend $50 on a Cheesecake Factory meal, so I can spend $50 on some fruits and some vegetables and some good, plant-based material. It's what effort. The effort level. Do I want to put the effort in? They say you can't heal yourself or whatever the case may be. It's not. It's none of that. It's once you see the vision, like you said, once you sit down, slow down, and you see something, how much effort are you really going to put into it? Can you commit to self?
Can you commit to self? And I think that that's so imperative because like so often, like that, this is like, so there, all right. So there is a weird place and space, right? You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, let's, like, it's like we're in America. This is my opinion. I just feel like we're just in this place where where things are being coddled so much, right? But we've got expectations for ourselves, but then it's like we're being coddled so much where we're like, you're fine just in all of the foolishness that you are in right now. Like you're fine right there. Like that's what you need to do. And it's a misunderstanding because it's like, no. What it is that it's okay for you to begin your journey right now. Not that you need to stay there. I think that somebody on the morning meetup, like there's this old phrase when I used to, because I was a Christian for like 35 years or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere around that 34. No, maybe somewhere 32. So, but there was always a phrase, which was like, come as you are. And I remember being a part of the morning meetup, and someone says, come as you are, but then they said, come as you are, but leave changed. There has to be an idea of a transformative place, because we have to keep growing. And when you're talking about like spending money, that's what I realized. That's what we were spending all of our money on in DC was food, and not like, what I'm saying, because I got into Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi?
Yes.
Okay, right. So I got into Dr. Sebi. If anybody's watching this doesn't know Dr. Sebi, natural healer, lived to 83 years old, and I feel like he only passed away 83, 84, because he was imprisoned, and it seems like he kind of starved himself. You know what I'm saying? He was just like, all right, I'm ready to go because I'm like locked up. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Anyways, 2013, guys, this was the beginning of my, all right, I got to, take this absolutely seriously. Because remember, I realized that my purpose is that I have to help people. 2013, about six or seven people that I know between the ages of 51 and 71 developed cancer, and all of them died. One beat the cancer sort of, but then it ended up like dying from a heart attack, right? And these were all like loved ones. So like 2013 was like a real wild and crazy year for me knowing people personally. But that's the year that I was like, yo, like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be like natural healing involved and all this and the other type of stuff. The thing is that if you ask, only when you ask the question are you able to then be presented with an answer. But if you never ask the question, trust and believe, that answer could be floating around your head, floating around in the atmosphere for years. And you like, man, why is this not happening? You can't ask that question, why is this not happening? You have to answer the question, how can I improve? How can I be better? You got to get to that place, right? It's a level of humility that I see that, and Anyways, so I got into natural health. I got into like natural healing and natural food because I was like, yo, I want to help people. I at least want people to have the option to do something that's natural, to not go to these hospitals, because 200 years ago, the majority of people, we did not have hospitals. No, 200, 300 years ago, let's say 300 years ago, we did not have hospitals. So people's mammies and pappies had to figure out herbs. And as we travel around to different like nations and things like that, we see different countries, specifically like where there's Afro-Latinos, you know, Afro folks in the Caribbean, descendants of African diaspora. We see that people, because they ain't have a bunch of money, everybody's on a bush medicine, everybody's planting, everybody got a garden, everybody has, if you are eating meat, you know what I'm saying? The thing is that there weren't refrigerators, right? So you couldn't eat meat in the way that we're having meat presented to us in McDonald's and Burger King and Chick-fil-A and all these types of things like that. So there was not this ample resource of meat and ways to hold it. And the meat was clean. The meat's eating essentially what you're eating. You eating vegetables, you tossing that out to your chickens, to your goats, they eating the same vegetables that you're eating. But we don't have that right now. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm at, like there is in the town, there's a chicken plant. And I see, like, if you ever want to be a vegan vegetarian, Victoria, you got to watch this chicken truck. It's the saddest thing. It's just like poultry that was raised somewhere, headed to this, and they about to just go be processed to be in somebody's chicken sandwich or somebody's chicken salad and things like that. It's extremely sad. To see. I'm not vegetarian, but it's extremely sad to see when you see this kind of going on. But the healing journey, it's a gut-brain connection where that if your gut is cleaned out, then your brain can be cleaned out. And so it's like there's a scripture that says the leaves of the essentially like the plants of the leaves are for the healing of the nation. You know what I'm saying? So even on a biblical front, people supposed to be eating the proper stuff. So when I wanted to I was like, look, listen, like, you know, whatever it happens to be, but I'm not eating any, I'm going to follow biblical dietary laws. So I'm not going to be eating any pork. I'm not going to be eating any catfish anymore. I'm not going to be eating some of these things. I just stopped. And they started doing research on how inflammatory they are with the body. Did I break up?
Yeah.
Check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay, we're doing good.
Am I good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I just found out how inflammatory these things were with the body, doing my own research. And so as soon as I'm trying to change, y'all.
The last thing you were saying when you broke up was that you were looking at the biblical dietary laws. Right.
Looking at the biblical dietary laws and saying, okay, I'm just going to just like act like I'm not as intelligent as I am. And I'm just going to just follow what the scripture says and just see what happens. So when I'm trying to do that, I'm doing that, then I'm educating myself on all these different meats. I'm educating myself on pork. You know what I'm saying? Our families, you know, descendants of slaves in America, we was raised on pork. We was raised on catfish. You know, when we got high on the hog, we could eat some shrimp. We could eat some lobster. All of these meats are unclean, right? According to the scriptures. Well, I do some homework and find out how unclean these meats are, but they do have a purpose. All of these meats, purpose is they are meant for, like, sorry to say, but they're like garbage disposal. You know what I'm saying? On earth. You know, all these different meats, they're meant to essentially cleanse like land or cleanse the ocean, you know what I'm saying, of all different like types of things, because they're scavengers, right? So I'm like, I mean, Dr. Sabi and all them, they're not even biblical, but they're become vegan. You need to clean your gut out. You need to get rid of all that meat. And I understand why, right? You know, but bringing it all back, your diet affects like the anxiety that people have. So this is, in my opinion, I'm not a doctor, but in my opinion, this country is like, what we're going to do is we're going to put you on an antidepressant. We're going to put you on anxiety medicine, and then we're going to put you on medicine that's going to counteract what those antidepressants do to your body. But we're not going to tell you to change any of your diet. You can eat exactly how you want to eat, right? And not putting together that you need to heal the gut to heal the mind, right? So it's a part of that becoming, like you were saying earlier, is that.
So we're just gonna, but I really like this conversation because I want to know what happened next. I want to know what happened next. Purpose, vision, mission. Okay. That's one of the things that I am constantly focused on.
So anyways, right, just summing it up is that purpose, vision, and mission, that was so imperative for me, because so often that if we don't know exactly what we're here to do, at least for the time, I think that the purpose, can evolve. I'm seeing that I think that the vision obviously is a vision for something specific, and the vision needs to be able to be malleable and to be able to change. And definitely the mission, how you're going to attack it always has to be malleable. But the purpose is essentially, I believe Dr. Miles Monroe said, it's like how you show up in every single place where you go. And so I was like, yo, this is how I show up in every single place. I'm always like looking to help somebody be better at whatever it is that they're doing, even if it's music production, even if it's executive, like producing some music. If an artist is dealing with some sort of imposter syndrome, I'm always like, yo, like, you're way better than that. Like, don't do that for this price. Do that for this price, because you're way better than that. And so understanding that my purpose is my name is Matty. It's the short and Americanized version, but the name is Matit Yahu, and it's Hebrew for gift from Yah. That's the name of our God. His name is Yah. And so it means gift from Yah. And so, when I'm leading like that, that's what, my parents gave me that name. They gave me the English version, but my parents gave me that name, and I lead with that, right? That's why naming is so important. I believe that the name that you have, there's some African traditions which are, they name people something like, again, let's say your name is Peace, and so whenever you're being called is Peace. Stop, sit down, Peace. Do that, Peace. And so it's reminding you and just speaking that affirmation of your life. You were designed to be bringing peace, and you need to be doing that. So that's names are extremely important, I see, because it's a way to speak an affirmation over somebody on a consistent basis. I don't know if they're like, I don't know if that's what you were like kind of working towards, but that's a little bit about what happened during that time, that pivot, that shift.
Okay, no, that's really good. Just because so many people can see, even myself can see myself in that, and kind of trying to figure out, for one, I just recently took the DISC assessment. I knew a few other things about myself, but then that kind of solidified, like, oh yeah, like I do that, like that. It kind of helps you. And I'm always looking for resources that hold the mirror up to me, because I'm right. Self-aware, and sometimes we can be self-aware of, that it's a picture, but we can't see the frame. So we just think like, no, I'm up here, I'm Picasso, but you, like, nah.
Right.
So I'm constantly trying to, like, I think that's a fear that I have actually, is like, how am I coming off? Was that too aggressive? Like, should I say it softer? You know, just whatever it is. So having things like the Enneagram, I have a book about it somewhere, but that's a really good test to understanding yourself in relationships. This book right here.
The Enneagram, okay.
Understanding yourself in relationships, how you act in relationships, what you need. I feel like a lot of
that before you actually started doing what you were doing on a health-wise and things like that, Victoria, you were like, I am becoming, right? You know what I'm saying? And I need you to talk about that, because it's this moment where everybody has, they're like, before I'm a millionaire, before I'm actually tangibly have that money in my bank account or whatever like that, I have to become that person who is on the journey to getting there, you know? And I think that, like, sometimes people don't want to do the work that's involved in it. And sometimes we're not mindful that we've already started that journey. And so we beat ourselves up and we're like, yo, I'm not there. Like, I'm not there yet. You know what I'm saying? So on and so forth. But we beat ourselves up, and it's like, yo, you are already becoming, you know? So that's another side of this mental sparring that we got going on. So I listen to affirmations. I think that's what we're talking about. I listen to affirmations all the time to make sure that my brain is the ground is fertile, you know, so that I can grow really good, you know, crops, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And things like that. So
have you ever noticed, I always use like I don't know what it's called, like a little weave and then a flower. Like, because we're planting seeds and we don't think about, or sometimes we're not conscious of the fact that the media around us is a seed. The people that we got around us, whether they talking peacefully or they yelling to their kids, that's a seed. Like, the music we listen to is a seed. Just the places, all these things are seeds. So you listen to affirmations. Let me see. Okay, let me go back. So I want to get to a place where I am peace. Like I say, peace and healing, because I used to live in this little house, and it wasn't little, it was in North Carolina. So the house is kind of big, but it was a little house right in Greensboro, and it was beautiful, but it was infested with rats. Okay. And I didn't know. It had a slim landlord. I got in there, I painted, I cleaned up. I was like, oh yeah, I could do this. It hit winter.
Them rats came right on in. They came right on in. That's what. Listen, I got 2 cats because we had another slumlord somewhere, and yeah.
They like, woo. That's why we got to get out there so that we can give what we want to receive. But so I had this slumlord. He I ended up calling the county. They come out, do an inspection. There's 27 violations on this house. They like, yeah, well, if y'all don't do something in 90 days, we're gonna tear it down. Like, it's that bad. It's that bad. Right. I just made a house a home, so it didn't feel that bad to me. Like, but people, all my friends would be like, they would come to the stoop. They turned into the stoop friends. They would come to the stoop, and they would be like, "No, you good? All right, well, I see you." Like, they was not coming anyway. Like. So I had to find peace. The rats went in, I moved out. I drove my Impala into the backyard, and every day, all day long, I would sit in my car. And I think that's where I get that having devotion all day, because the other side of the story is I got injured at the post office. So I'm out with a knee injury for 8 months. So I don't got nothing to do. It's kind of like what you said.
They gave you workers' comp though, right?
It took 6 months. Like, I had to get another job. I started working online.
It took 6 months to get the workers' comp?
Because y'all playing with my money.
What? See, digressing from that, really quick insert is that I have to just talk about this really quickly, is that, guys, right now, oh shoot, the mental work, whatever it is that needs to happen, like this country pays people for entrepreneurial shit, right? This country pays people for getting out there and doing something because, again, I am not crapping on jobs. I understand that jobs are the investor, right? It's a different way of thinking about it, right? Jobs are the investor. They're the investor in your business, but we cannot rely on them because anytime you get hurt or any of that type of stuff, you might be out for 6 months with a knee injury, out for 8 months with a knee injury, and you don't get paid for 6 months. That's crazy.
Yes. Okay. But I can't, I always, I fall short to the victim mindset too, but I do well under pressure. So under pressure, I got the slumlord. I had dogs at that time. I had 4 dogs. So it was no way I wasn't going to keep waiting on them. I just, I don't know if I was supposed to have another job or not on workers' comp, but I went and got a job that I could do sitting at the desk. They wouldn't give me desk work. They could have easily brought me into the office and had me doing something at the desk. They didn't. So I had to make do with that. But in those times is when I started to find self. I started to meditate. I don't know what made me start meditating. It never sounded like something I wanted to do. Oh, are you frozen? What is happening?
Victoria's.
Yes, can you hear me? I'm just going. Can you hear me now?
This is wild because we had a whole talking meeting.
Yes, that was fine.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
This is wild. All right, so the last part that I kind of heard you saying is that because I had my dogs and they could have had me at least working at a desk, but they didn't.
Yeah, I could have did something in the post office, a desk job. I was a carrier, but like I'm versatile. Like you can put me anywhere, but instead I had to wait and wait and wait. So I got another job, and I'm not sure if I was supposed to get another job, but I went and got me an online job. I got an online job because I couldn't just sit in the victim state. I had to do something, but that in that moment of like being home all the time, I started to find myself. I started to meditate. I never was the person to hear meditate and think, oh yeah, they're talking to me. Like, no, no, they're not. But I started meditating, like just sitting in my car, and I would have a journal, and I would just kind of zone out. Like just I would quiet my mind. I would use the Calm app, and then I would go into like things like just journaling. Like I would think about one word and I would journal on it, or like I would write something like something I had to work through during that time was mother. Me and my mother were estranged. We didn't talk at all. So I just would write that, and I would meditate on things that I felt. I would just write pages and pages and pages and pages to release that and do all this release work. That is what kind of like you talk about the gut to mind. I had to do all this release work. So I was eating different. I had been plant-based. I go in and out. When I go to a different environment, that was my issue, going to a different environment and then eating meat again. But being in that space in North Carolina, all of those rats, my point is all of the rats, they made me have to look at self and then realize that the peace is always in me. Like wherever I am, I can be peaceful. So it doesn't matter what's going on outside of me. I have a shield, a bubble. I try to move like I have a bubble. Like, okay, if you're doing something, all right. I don't want the bubble to be so thick though that nobody can tell me anything about myself. Like, I don't want to feel like, I'm good. Like I want it to be like a window or something, but that's
right. Did you say, can I hear what you saying? Okay. Yeah.
Yes. I need to invite that in. I don't want you don't just pour on me or, dump on me. Now, these are things that I had to learn about myself. I had to go through breaking down, feeling lonely, feeling like, okay, I just want to be great. I just got to figure out how to do something. And I went through the phase of I watched everything at that time that I wanted to watch on Netflix. There was nothing else. Like, I had emptied out Netflix, my watch list. So it was just me at this time. It was just focusing on me. And that is, I think, what started the becoming for me. And then it took years, because first the becoming was internal. So you may not have seen it, but mentally I had to get stronger. Mentally, I had to know I was worth it. Mentally, I had to tell myself, you know, that I'm worth these things, or that I should try this thing, or that I should try this thing again because I've tried it before, it didn't go well, or, you know, whatever the case may be. I had to work on that mentally. I did that until I started that in 2017. In 2019, I like randomly moved to Atlanta. I was driving there and
Good to go. I think you're good to go. Yeah. But
no,
anyways, so yeah, I'm looking at the time though. We got about gosh, I'm just looking at so I wanted to ask you a question. Do you think that, because again, it's like it's for melanated, you know, this podcast is for melanated people. I think that there's so much that, at least to happen in the States. You know, I'm a student of history, and I just know that we weren't having these types. You know, it's be tough, and you know, it's pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and you ain't even got a lace or a boot. You know, and it's difficult to do that. And so when you talked about, you said, I heard that you were estranged from your mother, right? How did you guys ever end up kind of coming back together, or how did that end up working out?
Over time, over the years, we've been trying to rebuild. It's funny you asked that, because I do this thing where I counsel with myself. I record my thoughts, or, you know, like I go outside and I really get into it with myself.
I am Matty McCaskill, Coach Matty. Matty the chef when I feel like hopping in the studio. I am dedicated to music creatives having transitions, making transformative leaps in their career and music business as it pertains to that emerging process, the journey that they're on their way to, and creating independence in music producers. You can reach out to me at Matty the Chef DC on IG, on Facebook. I'm not so much on Twitter, but you know, if you want to reach out, that's where you like to be. That's amazing. I have a YouTube page, which is MTC space Music TV, all one word, MTC Music TV, where I post videos. You know, if you really like YouTube a lot better, I post a little bit more long form content on there. I'm always adding stuff that I find amazing, that other people would find amazing, to playlists and all sorts of things like that. And it's just been a blessing to be here with you, Tori, today, and speaking to your audience and just having a little bit of a chat. It's definitely needed. I think that folks from the African diaspora are, you know, really having these pivotal conversations that are dealing with mental health, dealing with mental wellness, and how they can really scale up, because you know, millionaires and billionaires commit suicide all the time. So it ain't just about having money. It's about the mental fortitude. And there is a scripture that says, essentially summing it up, is that you need to be able to be content with having a little bit and content with having a lot. And that takes the mental fortitude that I believe that you are working with or helping people on this platform. So shout out to you, Tori, for that. If you guys heard me, hopefully you did. I don't know.
Yes, I got all that. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Make sure that you guys subscribe. As always, make sure you do some healing today. Peace and healing. We are out.